Loss of faith. I can honestly say that in particular does not describe me when I was going through my worst time with my CPTSD. On the contrary, I became clingy to religion, not faith, religion. I never lost faith. My faith was never lost. However, I became extremely religious. But there's one thing about this. You cannot bargain with God. You don't say to God, God, if you cure my CPTSD or my anxiety or panic attacks or insomnia or flashbacks, whatever, then I will fill in the blank. It does not work that way, guys. You cannot bargain with God. God does not work that way, okay? So that's what I did back then. And then eventually, of course, once you begin to work in your own CPTSD and you seek treatment or you begin to do whatever to eradicate the symptoms, you begin to realize your mistakes and you go back to your norm. So I really never lost my faith, but I envisioned myself then as wanting to bargain with God, and that never ever works. Regardless of what happens in your life, you never want to use God as a bargaining chip. If you help me with this, then I will do that, or I will stop doing whatever. It doesn't work that way. But loss of faith is something that is prevalent in sufferers of CPTSD because they begin to lose that hope, almost like, if I am such a good person, why are you, God, allowing this to happen to me? And the truth of the matter is that God did not create your CPTSD. On the contrary, God did something very special for you. He sent adults, people, to care for you, to love you, and protect you. If those adults failed to do their job well, that is not on God. That is on them. Here's another one, shame. For some reason, CPTSD sufferers have a huge issue with shame. They don't talk about the abuse that went on or the neglect. They hide. They have a secrecy going on about their dysfunctional family unit. And this is, to me, it's always been a very confusing thing because survivors of the abuse had absolutely nothing to do with the abuse and the neglect. But for some reason, these kids grow up full of shame. And that's why it's said that narcissism is shame-based, because narcissists are born in dysfunction, and there is a shame, and there is this low self-esteem that these kids carry, and they have to create a new person to put out there, somebody that they feel will be accepted by society. And so that is the public persona that we hear so much about when we talk about narcissists. The same thing happens with CPTSD sufferers. We develop all these physical illnesses and the depression and the anxiety and the mental issues because it was a way for us to survive a very, very traumatic situation. But for some reason, when we grow up for some reason, we want to carry somebody else's shame. And that has to stop. Here's another symptom of CPTSD sufferers. They always seem to be looking for that rescuer, right? A rescuer. I will meet just the right person to rescue me out of this madness that is, and this chaos that's going on in my life. Well, I got news from you. Nobody can rescue you but you. In fact, what I would suggest is getting into a solid, committed relationship when you have had when you have had the chance to work on you. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble, because you really are asking that spouse of yours or your intimate partner to carry now not only his burdens, because he has burdens, we all have burdens, but now you're asking him to also carry your burdens. And that's not fair, is it? That is a recipe for disaster. That's too much baggage for any relationship, right? So there's another problem with this mentality, looking for the rescuer. What happens is that will throw you into the wrong types of relationships and to gather with the wrong types of people. And those people might re-traumatize you or take advantage of your vulnerability. So no matter how you slice it, if you're suffering with CPTSD still, and you're looking at this video because you're looking for solutions, or if you have recently been diagnosed, or if you still have this symptom, this desire, this need to find a rescuer, please, I ask of you, take time, regroup, reassess, and come back to it. But it's never a good idea, because you are placing yourself in a very, very vulnerable position. It is the one position in which you never, ever want to be. There are plenty of predators out there looking to take advantage of that. So you need to protect yourself. You cannot find a rescuer, you rescue you. So physical pain. This was so true for me, it's not even real. The low back pain, the joint pain, the headaches, the migraines, the stomach distress, the vertigo, the eczema, the neuralgias, and I can go on and on and on. You know, these physical ailments are very real. They are not imagined. Oh no, 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 no. They are real, but it's all being caused by the same thing, the trauma. There are ways to lower the level of the pain. You have to stay active, and I don't know if you have read my books. You can find them on Amazon, but I take you step by step on things you can do to minimize those physical ailments and those intrusive thoughts. There are ways of doing that. Then you have depression. Depression was also real for me. I never succumbed to depression to such an extent that I was not able to extract myself from a very, very dark place. I always left some wiggle room, as they say, and I never isolated myself. So even during my worst times, I made sure that I was in the company of others, and I always remained physically active, and that helped me out a lot. But what I am saying to you now, and I've said it in my previous videos, I've said it in my posts, I've written it in my books. If you are one of those individuals who has a predisposition to substance abuse, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to not do so. Those things like alcohol, drugs, even medication, they are only going to make your situation worse. Because once you stop, now you have the same CPTSD symptoms, plus you are now an abuser of substances. And that's an additional problem or a new layer on the cake that you don't need, believe you me. If you have that predisposition, or if in the past that's how you have numbed your pain, I ask you to quit, because that's not the answer. On the contrary, it's going to exacerbate your problems. So, we're very close to the end of the video, but I want to give you 2 guaranteed, and listen to this word, guaranteed ways to stop, even if temporarily, or even if for the day, or even for a few hours, but it will stop anxiety and depression. If you are having anxiety, if you're feeling anxious, okay, I want you to do the following. I want you to, throughout the day, 3 times a day, throughout the day, I want you to do the following. Do a 10, 20, 10, 20, 10, 20. For 10 seconds, I want you to inhale, bring your breathing up and stop. And then exhale, release, release for 20 seconds. And I know that sounds very, very long, but believe you me, it is during that exhaling that it really, really calms your nervous system down. It feels wonderful. You're going to do 3 sets throughout the day, maybe morning, during lunchtime, right before going to bed even. You can even do it while you are driving your vehicle. It shouldn't stop you from looking at the traffic and driving well. You can do this pretty much anywhere. You can do it in your office, in your place of work. You inhale for 10 seconds, you exhale for 20, or as close as you can, and then you do it again. You're going to do it 10 times. 10 times in the morning, 10 times during midday, 10 times prior to your going to bed at night. That is for anxiety and panic disorder. Now for depression, this is what I want you to do. Go outdoors and do some type of an exercise for at least 15 minutes. Go outside, exercise for at least 15 minutes. I don't care if it is running, I don't care if it is the stationary bicycle, I don't care if it is a treadmill. Do this for at least 15 minutes. It is a promise. By the time you finish that mini workout, that little workout, you will not be depressed. At least not for the next whatever number of hours, maybe for the rest of the evening, depending on. Now, do not do it too late, because if you do this too close to bedtime, it's going to interfere with your sleep. So make sure you do this sometime prior, maybe to 5 p.m. If it is after 5, I would look for other ways to get rid of that depression, and there are many ways, many. But if you can go out there to work out for at least 15 minutes, and I promise you, it is guaranteed, you're going to see the difference. I hope this video helps some of you out there, and you can find me on Instagram, Facebook under Fitness for CPTSD, and I have 7 books on Amazon. My latest is Cone of Silence. It is pretty much my autobiography. I take you pretty much step by step on how I developed my CPTSD and the things you can expect living in a very toxic family system, and how damaging really it can be to your welfare, because you really should be surrounding yourself at all times by people who like you, love you, and want always the best for you. So again, this book is called Cone of Silence, and it is my autobiography. Lourdes Wright. I hope you check it out. And remember, the world